Welcome to the Economy Creators podcast and radio show on K-Fred Lifestyle Optimization Radio. I'm your host, Mary Farias. Economy Creators spotlights real stories of entrepreneurs and creators building their own personal economies around their unique interests, talents, and experiences. If you're an economy creator and would like to be on the show, I invite you to reach out and apply to be a guest. I love meeting and spotlighting economy creators. Welcome to Economy Creators. This is the podcast that highlights and spotlights people who are creating their personal economy around their unique interests, talents, and experiences. And today is wonderful. I have a special guest named Brian Swift. He's also known as the Quadfather, but he has a lot of things going on in his life. One of them is that he is a co-author of the Economy Creators anthology, and I'm so excited to have Brian, you on the project. This is wonderful. Welcome.
Welcome, Mary, and I am honored to be on the project, and I look forward to the journey.
Let's hear just a little bit about you and your background to start, Brian, because you are a magnificent person. A few weeks ago, I was scrolling through a common friend, Lynn Lionhood, another co-author and K-Fred radio host. I was scrolling through one of her groups, and I kept coming across your profile, and I said, you know what? There's a reason why I keep coming across this person's profile, and I think this is a person I need to know. So I reached out and I said, I need to know you, Brian. So let's share with the world who you are.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you reached out, and I do believe people meet for a reason. The reason's not always crystal clear, but I'm glad you did. I'm a I like to think I'm a simple man with a simple plan. Um, so I spent 25 years in corporate, in sales and leadership and training. And at one point in my late 40s, I got a bug to step away from corporate and do other things. So I did that. And before you step away from corporate, which you're enjoying and it's been a part of your life and you've been successful, you really better have a plan. And so I put 5 things I wanted to do. One of them was regain my health. My health was waning at that time, and I was battling staying as, on top of my game the way I wanted to. I wanted to spend more time with my family, my parents, um, and do things of that nature. I wanted to write a book. For whatever reason, it was always in me. I wanted to write one book. I wanted to start a nonprofit, and I wanted to get certified as a coach and speaker, even though it's what I did for 25 years, was really coach executives, coach leadership, coach, sales professionals. I wanted to, we had gotten into that era of, who were you trained by? Who were you certified by? Even though you really didn't need that, but it was part of what it was. So I left corporate. I started writing a book. I started to work on my health more. I started a 501(c)(3) nonprofit called Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. What we do is we help people with disabilities get back outdoors. And now we're ending up our 11th year of doing that. And s- eh, spent every minute we could going on vacations with my mom and dad and extended family. Got certified by John Maxwell. If you're looking for somebody out there, there's so many great ones. You know, Bob Proctor, and there's so many great people. Don't even try to put them and figure out who's better. Read a couple of their books and just see what resonates with you. That would really be my advice, because you'll find somebody that just hits home and resonates with you a little more. So I did all 5 things that I wanted to do, and I've just been blessed to take those 5 things, and, you talk about economy. I've taken those things and somewhat scaled them up in terms of growing an economy. So that's kind of a bit of my past. Now it's probably not the most, believe it or not, the most interesting part.
Yeah, you left something big out.
Well, so I talked about my life and the work life and kind of the last 30, probably 35, 40 years. But anything that has been a blessing in my life, everything that I've accomplished, finishing school, I went to junior college, getting my associates in 2 years, getting my bachelor's 2 years later, going on to law school, finishing my law degree 3 years later, um, learning how to live this new life. Everything in my life that I feel very proud and blessed to have accomplished came after breaking my neck and becoming a C6 quadriplegic at the age of 17. So it puts things in a little bit of different perspective when you know that. And I don't like always starting off with that. I'm not sure why, but the bottom line is back when I broke my neck in the early 80s, your life as a quadriplegic read like a Stephen King novel. And it was not supposed to be sunshine and rainbows. Not that nobody's life is all sunshine and rainbows. I don't care if you're walking, I don't care if you're rich, poor, it don't matter. Life is brutal and it's tough. And if you don't learn how to navigate that the best way, um, you can, or better, you're going to have long periods of getting in your own way, and I've been so blessed to have early in my life, at the age of 17, 18, to have by no means master it, but understand the necessity to master things that you spend your whole life trying to master.
Mhm. Well, and you said something, you said you don't always wanna lead with that because you didn't really know why, and I can kinda think of why, because you're remarkable in that you don't allow that to define you.
No, I never have. I mean, it'd be like defining somebody by their height, defining if somebody by their looks, and we are defined by those things. I mean, I'm sorry, pretty people get a lot I mean, it is statistically proven. Tall people get looked at differently and more. Pretty people get looked at differently. I mean, I have a face for radio. That's the reason I did radio for 3.5 years. I mean, and it is what it is. It's nobody's fault, but it doesn't have to stop you or slow you up. It's an acceptance that comes with this is the way it is, but I know what I want up here, and I have an idea of what I have to do to get it, and all the other stuff is just noise.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I love the fact that you picked 5 things that you wanted to do, and you just went out and did them. And, I'm imagining that they weren't all simple to do and accomplish, and it took a while, probably. But here's the thing, you never gave up, and you kept going, and now you just said that you've propelled them, if you've made more of them than, than just those 5 things because you don't just have 1 book, Brian. How many do you have?
I've authored 10 books, three-time best-selling author. I have another one that'll be coming out probably in a month or 2. Then I'm part of your anthology, and I have another one I've been toying with on the back burner. And when I'm done with all those, I think I'm gonna go fiction, 100%. Absolutely. You get my bottle of Irish whiskey, sit outside, and write fiction. I'm not sure.
You got some more stories in there, huh?
Probably.
Yeah. That's so cool, and you said so this year, 11 books, you're in the 11th year of your nonprofit, and there are 11 co-authors in the anthology. I'm telling you, I'm number 11 too. I like it.
I'm gonna have to keep track of that number. There may be something behind that, which I do agree, there is a metaphysical world out there that some people it's not that whether you believe in it or not. Um, but there is an energy out there that is created by each of us that has an effect, mostly on ourselves. And I talk about this when I do speeches about, you know, positive self-talk and the things we say to ourselves. Um, People really can't fathom how that plays on our lives and our conditions, our health condition, our mental health condition, our physical health condition. And it is an energy that comes from words, stories that we tell ourselves. And it's important to keep those in perspective and learn where to put them, uh, in reference to meaning in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, because, that's what I teach. We have to tell ourselves the story that is going to help us forward. We Our voice is the voice we hear the most often, and if it's nagging at us and telling us how terrible we are, or that we can't do something, or we're not smart enough, or we're not good enough, or we're not fast enough, or we're not whatever enough, we'll always live up to that, won't we?
Absolutely, because here's the biggest thing: comparison is the thief of joy.
Mhm.
One always, because you're never gonna be the fastest, strongest, prettiest, tallest, best ever, ever. There may be one person who will be the tallest, and guess what? In 10 years, somebody's gonna be taller. In 20 years, somebody's gonna be faster. In 20 minutes, somebody's gonna be prettier. So if you're comparing, you're just stealing your joy and your time.
Yeah. Yeah, that law of relativity is a big thing because we get to choose if we decide that we're on the small side or we're on the big side. We get to choose with our perception which way we go, and I think that's so important, which kind of leads me into the next question about the programs and conditions that you had to unlearn maybe because there are you've accomplished a lot in your life, and, more so than many people out there, and that's not always easy, and a lot of people would argue you've had a big hurdle to get to start with. And so what are some things that you had to unlearn, in order to help you move forward?
Um first of all, life's not fair. I grew up with that my parents kinda had that mentality. It's not fair, it's not even, and, don't judge everything by it. So those things I would say were probably the first couple things that I've always kept in mind as I'm moving forward. Now the big things I had to learn were probably more, over time they took, and it was learning patience, which, man, I'm still learning that because when you can't do something for yourself and you have to rely on others, man, it is tough to do. Um, I had to learn to approach everything differently. I mean, I couldn't, first I couldn't move anything from my neck down. I mean, even today, people see me moving my arms and see me pushing a wheelchair, but that's all the movement I have in my hands. So you learn to adapt and adjust and figure out ways to do things if you wanna move forward. Um, but adapting probably to the fact of not defining myself as a quadriplegic, especially as a man, and I'm not saying it's harder as a man versus a woman, but let's be honest, I come from a generation where your roles were you were a man or a woman. I mean, it hasn't changed, but what defined you as a man were things, and I know society wants to fight that, men are tough, men don't cry, men don't, and there's a lot of truth to that. Men are strong, men are helpful, men can do things, they can build things, they're there to help their parents, they're there to help. Well, all of a sudden, I can't be there to help my mom and dad, not physically, and I can't be there to help my friends physically. I can't even be there to help myself physically. I had to learn, um, that didn't define me, and, breaking your neck and what people don't understand is you lose your ability to breathe, you lose your ability to control your bladder, your diaphragm, bowels, your so many things. And uh you have to learn how to it's emasculating if you let it be. So I had to drive accomplishments so I felt better myself, which I had to do through other ways, which was school. I went and I played wheelchair sports. Why? I love competing. I mean, I love hitting people. Yeah, I played football. I mean, I never so I played wheelchair rugby. It's called quad rugby, which is basically like bumper car wheelchairs. Now they call it murder ball. And man, I'm and they've made these wheelchairs, and I'm not kidding. They're like a mini tank because what they've done is they've put plating all around the wheels in your footrest, and it is like they're different. I played in a regular wheelchair, and you just went up and, if somebody was coming down the court with a ball, my job was to stop them. Well, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hopefully knock you out of your chair, preferably, and have you lose the ball. So I competed, not just in quad rugby. I swam. I did marathons. Um, I pushed myself. Now all of a sudden I had to use my mind. I come from a very blue collar background. I probably would have ended up in the trades. I never viewed myself as a smart person. Now I had to figure out other ways to feel good about myself. Today, it might be going out and riding a mile. That's the longest I ever rode. In 2 weeks, my goal is I want to be able to ride 2 miles. I want to be able to lift 15 pounds. So you start from you start from where you're at. That's all that it's the only place you can start is from where you're at and then grow. Write down goals, be very specific, and then challenge them and go get it.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? People listening might say, "Yeah, of course. That's how you start." You have to they wouldn't question you when you say, "You have to start where you are." You got to start where you are. But what do you say to people who are well, able-bodied but feel like the goal setting process is different? It's not, is it?
Nothing is different. Nothing is different in terms of how do you go be successful? How do you go be happy in life? How do you go that formula doesn't change whether I'm sitting here pushing a wheelchair, sitting in an electric wheelchair, or I'm running and walking. That doesn't change one bit. Um, you start at the beginning. Now, people, like you said, might say, well, that's easy. No kidding. You start with goals. Write down your goals, blah, blah, blah. But there are a lot of people that don't write down goals. I know what they are. I know them. Did you write them down? No, but I know them. Well, go look at a Stanford or Harvard review on the difference between people who write down their goals and people who know their goals. The difference is ginormous on who achieves them. The people who write them down achieve them more. On top of writing down goals, have you created a vision board? You don't have a vision board? Well, create a vision board. What are your non-negotiables? Oh, what do you mean non-negotiables? Dude, you're a long way from starting. I mean, you got a lot of stuff to figure out before you start, you know?
Let's step away from the interview for just a minute and let's talk about a simple goal setting process that you can follow. Brian is so wisely telling us that we need to set goals, we need to write them down. So let's go through a simple goal setting process that you can use immediately to go after each one of your goals. So, the absolute first thing that needs to happen is you have to ask yourself, what do I want? You have to identify the thing that you truly desire. Do you want more money? Do you want a bigger house? Do you want a nicer car? Do you want a better business? Do you want to serve more people? What is it that you truly desire? Make a comprehensive list of all the things that you want. And what I instruct people to do is to choose the thing on your list that encompasses either all of the other things on your list or most of the other things on your list, because there is a thing like that. So ask yourself, what do I want? That's step one. Step two is to decide to go after it. You must make a decision to have the thing that you want. Otherwise, it's just a wish. A decision is such a powerful thing. You have to ask yourself, am I able to do this? And the answer to that is always yes. We have infinite potential within us. Yes, I am able. The question really becomes, am I willing to do it? Am I willing to do what it takes to get to where I want to go? When we make a decision, all of the resources, all of the people, all of the money, all of the opportunities will show up. But without a decision, none of those things have a reason to show up. Make the decision. Number three, just what Brian said, write it down. We need to write down our goals. We need to write down what it is that we want. This is when we start to get really serious about it. We make that decision, we write it down. And what that does is signals to our subconscious mind that this is what I'm going after. This is who I'm becoming. Napoleon Hill said, writing down your goal is the very first step in transmuting it into physical form. So, write it down, make it clear. Step four, imagine what it's like when you get there. Imagination is one of our intellectual faculties. It's what we can use to, quote, go there before we get there. It's what we use to get into the feeling of the goal. What does it feel like to have that new house? What does it feel like to drive that new car? What does it feel like to have that skill? What does it feel like to become a best-selling author? There are so many feelings that are involved that we can go to in our imagination before we even experience it in this physical world. Our imagination is what we use to visualize, and visualization is so key to reaching our goals. I was a gymnast for a long, long time, and I learned pretty quickly that if I could not do a skill in my mind and visualize myself doing it, I would not be able to perform it in the gym. It just worked out that way. Your imagination is huge. Number five, identify the habits that you need to form in order to reach your goal. Choose one or two to focus on at one time. Don't do it all. We can't do it all. Our minds aren't created that way. We need to choose and focus on one or two habits at a time, get those going, and then move on to the next one or two. And then the last one, get on with the work. So we have this goal, we know what it is, we know how it feels, we visualize it, we know the habits that we need to adopt. Now get on with the work of creating those habits. And that's a simple goal setting process that you can put into practice right here, right now. All right, let's get back to our interview with Brian.
I know, and I've mentored people like that, which some people find it odd, and I think some people are like, "What can a guy in a wheelchair teach me?" Uh, it's amazing how many very successful people are not maybe the most intelligent people. And there's always room to grow. I don't care how smart you are or how many digits you have in your bank account. I guarantee I can make your life better.
Yeah.
I can make your life better. I guarantee that. And even I've done it with some people who I've said, "I don't want a penny from you to coach you. If you feel that you've gained something when we're done, you can pay me then." That's how much I believe in myself.
Yeah.
You
Well, where did that come from? Was that there before and after the accident? Was that how did that transpire for you?
Confidence only happens through action, through a lot of failing, because you only grow when you fail. So I didn't mention it, but I've coached athletics from high school on down for 22 years. I coached high school football. I coached high school basketball. I coached, junior high basketball, junior high football, all the way down. When people win in life, what do we all do? When you win in athletics, you're an athlete. What did you do when you performed well and you won?
Well, I felt
Celebrated.
yeah.
Celebrated. You didn't think anything of, right? Like that hard work paid off, and I'm awesome, and yeah, I did it, and I can do it, and maybe I could do more. I have to, but what you that doesn't help you grow. You grow when you fail, and it's not a failure. I haven't failed in 15 years because if something doesn't work out the way you want, as long as you're learning from it, it is an opportunity to learn. So sometimes you win or sometimes you learn. There is no failing in my life. I don't fail. I either learn or I succeed.
Yes. Price Pritchett says a rocket fails its way to the moon. It's never on the correct course the entire way. Oh, yeah. Have you ever read the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz?
I have not.
This one, it's incredible. And he was a cosmetic surgeon, and he found that people had 2 types of self-images. One was the one how we see ourselves on the inside, and one is how we see ourselves and how the world sees us on the outside. And when he did plastic surgery on people, maybe he took care of a scar or gave somebody a nose job, whatever it may have been, some people felt different immediately and went out in the world like they owned the place, right? Others didn't change one bit, no matter how great the surgery was, no matter how much their physical appearance shifted, they did not see themselves any other way and still slinked back into the corner. Now, I'm mentioning this because he talks about in this book that we have this success mechanism inside of us. And it's like if we set a pen on the table and we close our eyes and we kind of move our hands around to find it. We don't punish ourselves for not finding it right away. We just move our hand and then we find it, right? And but things change in our minds when it's something big that we really want, right? Something that we don't know if we can achieve. And if we started handling things a little more lightly, I think, and knowing that we can have this ability and you just nailed it. I don't fail. I haven't failed in 15 years, right? Did you say 15 years? So what happened in 15 years ago that changed?
That's when I got out of corporate and got involved with John Maxwell, and that's one of the I'll call them classes I teach is sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. I and there's not a team that I've coached that has failed. Failure is a decision. It's an action. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that would consider and act in a way that caused them to be a failure. But it is a mindset, and that is the mindset I coach. It's the mindset I live with. It's a mindset I drove through, whether it was coaching athletes or coaching professionals or entrepreneurs. Um, it's truly a mindset, and it doesn't happen overnight. It is like any habit. You've got to live it. It's got to be repeatable. It's got to be consistent. What do they say? If you do something for 7 minutes a day for like 30 days, you can learn to speak it. There's some formula. It doesn't sound very long, like 7 minutes or 12 minutes, whatever it is. Like, I don't think I could ever learn that language if you gave me, but there is. And again, just think, look what I just said. I don't think I could ever learn that. Well, guess what? I just told myself I just justified not learning it
Yeah.
because I told myself something the rest of me will believe. And I am correcting friends and family on the stuff they say all the time because there is a major effect, like I said earlier, that affects not just the chemical release of the good chemicals versus the bad chemicals in our body, but I mean, it also affects our actions, our physical actions, and our subconscious, which is where so much of our life starts. I see people all the time talk about, how they just have this victim mentality that I struggle with accepting because something bad happened to him as a kid. And I watched my dad die when he was 12. I Okay, well, what does that have to do? You're 45 years old now. What does it have to do with today? Well, it had an impact on me. Well, I watched my dad die when I was, 47. That had an impact too. How did you want it to impact you? How would you want your dad? More importantly, would your dad want it to impact you that way? Or, I was brought up in a, broken home. All right, along with half of the world, along with my mother, my grandmother, who are crazy amazing women that are people couldn't do half the stuff they do. Just but they found a way to do it. So
Mhm. Well, and you coached kids, and so did I. I coached in gymnastics, you coached in football, and, there is this it's not natural for people, not all people, to think positively and not push themselves down because they, quote, "failed," right? Gymnastics and football, both, you fail a lot. I fell a lot, okay? I just did. That's why there are mats everywhere because most of it is failure. And and but teaching a child in adolescence that it's okay to fail is really going against the grain in comparison to parents and schools and all sorts of things. So how did you
absolutely.
do that?
By giving them that perspective of, okay, that play didn't work. Why didn't it work? Let's start with you. What did you do to get in your own way? Because most people out there, their worst enemy is themselves. You had a divine direction you wanted to go in. What did you do to get in that way, that divine direction? Now let me break down what didn't happen in front of you that didn't happen. Okay? Well, this guy didn't do his job and this is why. So now we know why. Nobody failed. Now we've learned what we've got to do better or more of or more consistently. And kids are sharp at young. They'll get that. They'll get that. That's not a failure. Or I'll be correcting them. Don't talk that way. I dropped the stupid ball. I can't catch a ball. Don't say that. You drop the ball. That's the only reality. The other reality is you know how to catch a ball. You know how to catch a ball.
Yeah.
That's the other reality. And it's really over time. And as you well know, you get a lot of time to spend with these kids.
Mhm.
And I am on them when it comes to the way they talk about themselves
Yeah.
or other players. Probably more, I'm sure coaches are like, "What does that matter?" Bottom line is, why we well, trust me. Over the time, I'm looking at this kid going, "You know what? I'd love to coach him in 3 years, and if I can get that mindset going now, 3 years, he's gonna be fun to coach. But I got to
Yeah.
start now."
Right. I coached the same way because I could see a skill if they did a skill, I could see, like, 3 or 4 iterations ahead of that going, "Oh, this is gonna be so good." Right? But you're right, we have to prepare that mindset now in order to get the results in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line. It is a continuum, isn't it?
Absolutely, and you nailed it, um, when you talked about what I try to teach and develop is so contrary to what our school, society, social media, even parents are trying to teach. I just spent an hour with David Meltzer and him doing some uh, training on Napoleon Hill. He is, I think, one of their CEOs or CFOs of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Another great book to read. He has numerous books. Read them. Trust me, you will find them fascinating. Why we don't teach what he writes in his books is high school or college classes blows my mind. That I I don't care if a kid ever learns the Pythagorean theorem. Doesn't matter. To all the
I don't think I've
skills.
used that
Yeah,
in real life.
right? Right? If the skills these kids should be taught are out there. It's just politics getting too involved with education and politics getting too involved with social media, and, my kids, none of them had major abilities athletically, but they all played at a high level because of what I taught them mentally.
Yep.
I mean, I have a 5'2" daughter that played 4 years of high school basketball at a major, like, big time Catholic, or not Catholic, high school, in Lincoln Way East. It played there for 4 years at 5'2". She didn't belong on the court. I mean, she could have been knocked down by the wind of you running by. But we developed her, I mean, because she was all of, 95 pounds. But you know what? She brought value to the team. She brought value to the coach. She brought value to herself, and she played for 4 years. And, it's really about what your mindset. And I couldn't, as I've told I can't make it. I can't teach 5'8". I can't teach 6'2". But I could teach you how to have a big heart and a big mindset, heart set, skill set. That I
Yeah.
can develop.
Yeah. It's so true. And another thing too is not just teaching kids to be able to withstand failure or seeming failure, but also the thing you mentioned and talked about is the self-talk, because th adolescents these days, I mean, they are self-deprecating. It is
It's safe. It's a safe
amazing.
place.
Uh-huh. Talk about that more.
It's a safe place. You know what? Saying that I'm probably not gonna accomplish that, all that does is soothe the end result of not accomplishing.
Yeah.
But it also had an effect on your actions, whether you thought it did or didn't, to where you didn't work real hard because you felt you would fail, so your actions followed that, and you made it a bit of a soft landing. Problem is we wanna create soft landings in safe places. There is no soft landings in safe places. Go bang your head and scratch up your knees. That'll give you some character. That'll teach us. I mean, let's put helmets on everybody and bubble wrap them when they ride a bike. Mm, I get it. I get it. I understand, but I know 5 generations that rode bikes off of ramps they built in hills and places, right? That they should have been without a helmet with shorts on. And you know what? Experience is an awesome teacher. You know what? Don't touch that. It's hot. You know what? When a kid's walking around with his hand behind his back and doesn't want to tell you that he burnt his hand, guess what? Sometimes you got to burn your hand for these kids to figure it out.
Yep.
Social media does nothing or very little for the younger generation. It gives them a serotonin fix. It gives them the laugh, the high, the joke, the like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he did that." That's all it does. I mean, the studies they're doing now, I mean, I punish my kids by and they're adults, no phones at the dinner table. Put
Mm.
it away. I'm expecting to hear from somebody. Well, let them call you. Well, they were gonna text me. That's okay. No phones at dinner. 0. I don't care if you're 30. I don't care if you're I have a 30-year-old. I have a 23-year. I don't care. And you know what? If we're sitting around doing something together, watching a movie, put it away.
Oh,
Especially my youngest one. I'm fearful of what's gonna happen with these kids because they don't know how to sit still and be present. Be in the now.
yeah, my daughter, and I ride horses together, and I think that is one of the best ways that I can help her be in the now, because
That's awesome.
she
Yeah.
can't be on a phone at the same time as telling her horse what to do and be be one with that whole activity, and we go every morning. I mean, we just got
That's so that's so cool because, I mean, we created a 501(c)(3) nonprofit to get people outdoors. Why? I believe that's where healing happens. I believe it gives you a chance to ground yourself in Mother Nature or earth yourself whatever you believe in. I believe it gives you a chance to be, if I'm going archery shooting with my son or going somewhere fishing, it gives us a chance just to be 2 guys, kinda get away from that dad mode or mom mode, and it gives you a common focus then, and it can include all those, "Well, he's competitive." Well, good, then I wanna catch a fish first, which means I'm gonna bait my hook quicker than you and get it out there, and maybe I'm gonna use 2 fishing poles too, because I got a better chance if I got one with a bobber and I'm casting one, because I wanna catch one before you, and if we both catch them, I hope we do, it's all great, I hope you catch a fish, I just want mine to be a little bit bigger, right? I mean, so you get a chance to do all that. I mean, I that's all grounding with your daughter, and that is awesome time where you're not necessarily her mother now. You're
Yeah.
just a buddy out there riding, and you don't get that time in the house. You can't create that in the house. Not
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely different, and she's better at it than I am, which is cool because because I can't tell her all the stuff, what to do and all of that. She can tell me what to do all of a sudden, and it kinda reverses the roles a little bit. But you mentioned that it's grounding, going out into nature is so grounding, and I think that's so true. And, I don't know if you know this, but ever since I was a little kid, I wanted a horse. And, I got a pony when I was 6, my sister bought me a pony, and the fact of the matter is we have these desires within us from little on that we're told to, "Oh, you're an adult now, Mary. Every little girl wants a horse. You don't need a horse anymore. grow up, right? But I really truly believe that that was my inner spirit telling me this is what's grounding you. You need this in your life to be the best for yourself and for your family and for the people you serve. And I know that I was guided to horses, whereas someone else might be guided towards hiking or doing something like and you're talking about going out fishing with your son or whatever it might be, but it generally has something to do with nature. I think that that's kind of key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a place that you just can't recreate anywhere else. It's proven. I mean, it's medically proven that when you go out and you commune with nature, it does something to all your serotonin and your uh, all your chemical levels, and it lowers people's blood pressures. Why do people have sound machines to listen to running water or a stream or a waterfall? And why does that help them sleep? Because it takes you to a special place. Now, if you're out in that place, I mean, I thought about it today, but the weather didn't go. I do a lot of my Zooms or business calls outside. I want to be outside doing this. I want to feel the wind. I want to feel the sun. If it's real windy, I might not be able because you'll hear it. But I do a lot of my business. When I coach people, sometimes if they live close, I go for walks with them. I I don't wanna sit in a room and have a discussion with you when we could go walk a beautiful trail and feel at ease and at peace. That is the best state to learn in and to think in and to just to be in. And let we talked about this younger generation. They don't know how to just be.
Yeah.
Just be.
Yeah, because they have that phone attached to their fingertips.
Absolutely, and you know what? The effect of that, I think, is gonna be horrendous as they get older and a bit not in a good way, and I will battle that my whole life with family and friends of, stop being on it, do something else,
Mhm.
so
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think nature is the answer, and your nonprofit talks about that. It helps people get out there when they have a whole reason that they lots of reasons that people would go, "Oh, yeah, you don't have to go out there, don't worry." But you're bringing them out into nature and making them more accessible out there. So tell us a little bit about SOAR.
So, as I said, it stands for Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. What we do is we are like that bridge between insurance that covers almost next to nothing. It's got, if it's not a medical necessity, which is barely anything, to items that are specific to your needs, like maybe a hand cycle. For somebody who has, MS or CP, maybe it's a therapeutic trike. To somebody with a spinal cord injury, it could be a hand cycle or a trike or an outdoor wheelchair that you ride differently. It could be hand control so you could drive your car again. A lot of exercise equipment. We really understand and believe the need to get people back out. I have paid for equine therapy. Why? Well, you're getting out. You're not sitting in the house. You're going to a beautiful farm and you're getting a chance to interact with an animal, this majestic horse that you get to interact with. And there's a reason they have that kind of therapy. It changes people. It they have, I mean, go Google it anywhere. They'll show people that have, tremors and a lot of physical difficulties with things, and they'll get on a horse. They won't have a tremor while they're on the horse. Now,
Yeah.
why? They won't have, the spasticity and whatnot when they're riding a horse or just sitting and it's being walked. It can't be explained, and that's okay. Not everything in our life we're meant to know the why of. That's where faith comes in, and that's something I've been very blessed with through my mom is this, amazing, a amazing faith.
Mhm. That's great. I love that. My mom had amazing faith too, and she passed it along. She said, "The greatest gift a mother can give her children is the gift of faith." That's what she always told me.
She is right. There's one other gift that I am chasing, and my mom has it, and I'm still blessed she's still around. She's 88, and we watch her, she has dementia, unfortunately, but healthy as a horse, no pun intended, and, my mom has always had peace, and if you ask somebody, "What do you want in life?" Do you want if there was one thing you wanted, do you wanna be happy? Do you wanna be, ecstatic in life? Do you wanna be what is it you want? I wanna be in peace. I wanna have peace. I've never seen a woman that is so in peace, even when shit hits the fan. My mom is in peace. It'll get figured out. How sh and you don't have peace unless you have amazing faith.
Mhm.
100%. It is the reason she is at peace and has been at peace since in her 30s and 40s is her faith. No doubt that her faith has brought her, this majestic peace I'm searching for.
Mm. You'll find it. I know it. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the anthology that we're both a part of.
Yes.
So, what are you thinking about writing about in your chapter?
I've had such a long journey, and, people see you and they think, "Wow," "she's doing this and she's doing this and she got this class," and, it seems like, some people just are lucky and some people, they get it, or maybe she had, somebody that helped, and they see me and what I've accomplished, and they don't realize that this was not a short journey. Nobody's journey is short. And I think giving some perspective to understanding that the journey is not short, but just when you feel like maybe giving up, you're closer to where you really wanna be than you think.
Mhm.
You might use 80% of your energy, let's say 90% of your energy getting 70% of the way there, but the next 30% is only gonna take 10% of your energy. But, so I'm going along those lines. So I don't know what you would call it in terms, but I think people need to understand that perspective of that journey of and it's not about just monetizing everything in your life, not even close, because the book we're writing, I could write a whole chapter on monetizing that has nothing to do with money.
Mhm.
Monetize my peace, monetize my happiness, monetize my joy, monetize my knowledge, monetize my relationships. I mean, I do. You can do all that without a penny coming into your life, and those things are probably going to make you happier than that $100,000 bill that is waiting at the end of the year. So, actually, I
Yeah.
think you have to get to those places before you get to that.
I know. I think I was just gonna go there. Yeah, absolutely. And Napoleon Hill talks about it too and in Think and Grow Rich. It's not
Yes.
about, yes, he mentions money. It's not about money. It's not about money. It's about the mindset. It's about belief. It's about faith. It's about setting goals. It's about working towards them. It's about persistence. It's about having that burning desire and listening to your inner guide and knowing that you're here for more than what meets the eye.
Waking up with gratitude.
Yep.
Asking for more. I've learned not to be afraid to ask. Why? Because the more I get to give. And the more I give, the happier I feel. And I can't give more if I don't get more. I want more. I want my charity to I wanna drive more money into it. Why? Because I could give more. And that makes me happy. So if I don't ask for more, how would I ever get more?
Right. Absolutely. I love that. And so many people are afraid to ask. They're afraid to look selfish or what have you, but what you just described has nothing to do with selfishness.
I will here if people don't get anything out of this discussion, understand this. When you do something for somebody and make them feel good, whether it's with your time, maybe it's with a gift, maybe it's with an act of kindness, how does that make you feel? Right? It makes right? And money can't buy that. If you don't ask other people for their time, their money, their times, their treasures, whatever it is, you're you are denying them that ability to feel good.
Mhm.
I don't wanna deny somebody the ability to feel good, because if somebody helps soar and they see what it does, they're gonna feel great. So you're asking for something is not putting yourself in this vulnerable, weak place. There's more than enough for everybody to win in this world. Everybody could be successful. Everybody could have enough. There's more than enough. And if we were in the room with the 11 authors, including yourself, say there were 12 of us, and I had 50 hamburgers on a tray, would anybody there be afraid to ask for a second or a third?
Mm,
They shouldn't be. That's the way the world is. There's enough out there. Go ask for it. Go get it.
mhm.
Go
Yeah,
ask
well,
for it.
and sometimes you need to move in order to find it, right?
But
You have to take the first step.
all the time you need to move, not some of
Yeah.
the time.
You have to bait your own hook.
All the time, right? I mean, okay, occasionally I'll have somebody else do it just because it's quicker and I'm not jabbing my finger. But here's the bottom line. We've heard the statement that knowledge is power, right? Would you agree with that?
I would say that knowledge is potential power.
All right, so you got me. You're 100% right. If you think knowledge is power, somebody lied to you. They lied to all of us.
Yeah.
Knowledge is not power. It is potential power because if you don't act, all you got are empty words.
Yep.
So you have to act. You have to ask. You have to wake up grateful. I didn't make the rules. I just try to
No.
live by 'em.
Well, and here's the thing, there is a reason why hormones are, oxytocin is emitted when we give something to somebody or do something nice, and that is us giving energy and the energy coming back to us. It's a law of cause and effect. When we give, we get, and that entices us to give more.
Right? The more we give, the more we get, the more we
Yeah,
give. It's called the law of reciprocity.
yeah.
Going out to dinner. I buy dinner tonight. You didn't want me to buy dinner. You had your wallet out. You're like, let me leave the tip. No, I got it. What's probably going to happen next time?
I'm gonna get it for you.
Right? I mean, it's the law of reciprocity. Give more, get more. It doesn't always happen in our time. Sometimes it happens in infinite time. But just understand that it will work out. Just have faith in that it all works out.
Exactly. Ah, I love that. I love that. So, we're coming to a close here on our discussion, and this was fabulous. And I want to talk to you more. Every time I talk to you, you get more interesting to me. So, thank you for
Well,
that.
thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what? I just try to be authentic because I like who I am. Am I satisfied? No. No, there are days I don't like me, but I like who I am for the most part, and I'd buy myself a Coke. So I try to be authentic that way. So
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because that's the only person we actually can be is ourselves. And so many times we try to be somebody else, but it doesn't always work. So, let me ask you this, where can people, um, learn more about you?
sure. So I am on Facebook under Brian P. Swift. You could go to Instagram under the THEE underscore Quadfather. And I guarantee there's not a lot of those out there. Um, Actually, I trademarked the name,
You did.
the
No.
Quadfather, and you could find me on LinkedIn under Brian P. Swift. You could go to my website, brianpswift.com, or go to SOAR, Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. It's all spelled out. It's not the acronym SOAR. So it's Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. Look me up, friend me. If there's any way I can help or serve you, ask. It's the only way this world works is ask. I will do whatever is in my power. Just ask.
You know, that is so powerful to end with because, I feel the same way. I don't know how to help somebody in particular if they don't say that they need something or would like something, right? And I want to help as many people as I can, but I can't help people in the deepest way if they don't tell me what they need, right?
Absolutely. Don't go through your life like a crying baby. That's why they're frightening because they can't tell you I'm hungry and they can't tell you it's my diaper's full and they can't tell you there's a pain in my mouth because my tooth's coming in. If you don't tell people what you want, you're never going to get it. You know the saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Start shooting. Start taking shots. It's the only way you move forward in a faster way because the time of progress is never fast enough.
There you go. Oh, well, beyond that, do you wanna leave the audience with anything else?
Keep dreaming, keep asking, never quit.
Ah,
And I'm here. Find me. If you want something bad enough, come find me.
awesome. Thank you, Brian. I really, truly appreciate your being here and that you're a part of the anthology.
I'm excited. I'm honored that you asked. And I'm excited to go down that journey with you and the other people uh, to learn more about them uh, and to put some love and idea and heart set into my chapter so that people get something out of it.
Oh, they definitely will. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. Are you an economy creator? I want to meet you. Join me for my free Economy Creators Challenge that I host the first week of every month. And if you're interested in being on the Economy Creators podcast and radio show here on KFred Lifestyle Optimization Radio, please reach out and apply. I can't wait to meet you.